Right edition. And the native part, they still think they own the entire country. GunOwnersOfCanada.com, interesting website for all of you gun enthusiasts. Check it out. McDonald's now is expanding into Vietnam. World news for you here, and they're building stores over there left, right, and center. Kind of cool. Guess who the main builder is, though? The main franchise holder, the franchisee, that would be the son-in-law of the Prime Minister of Vietnam, and he's got a rigorous process going on. He says, I'm going to sell hamburgers to all my people. Well, he has an advantage, because if it doesn't work out, go to your father-in-law and say, pass a law saying you got to eat a hamburger every day. No Big Mac, no life. Something like that, just funning with you. Sun Media in Canada recently has announced they're cutting 360 jobs and they're going to close 11 papers. They're shifting now to digital, and that certainly shows the shift, doesn't it? I mean, the world has changed. I mean, it's interesting. I'm one of the diehards, I mean, with regard to newspapers. And now I don't buy a paper anymore. I even do all my reading online. So when I do it, I mean, you got to know that everybody else is doing it first. The only time I read a hard paper now, or hardcover paper, is on an airplane or in a doctor's office, and I try to avoid both if I can. They're both too expensive. In Colorado, a town is considering licensing bounty hunters to shoot down drones. This is kind of cool. And this is just outside of Denver, about 50 miles east of Denver. It's a small population, under 600 people, and they're saying, hey people, we don't like these drones. They're interfering with our world, our life, they're taking away and affecting our privacy, so shoot them down. We're going to pay you, we're going to give you awards. This is like an act of war. This is kind of cool. So proposed bounties will be $25 for those turning in the wings of downed aircraft, and $100 for most attacked vehicles. And it says drones, if you feel like they're stalking you, shoot them down and bring it in, you bounty hunter, and we're going to pay you. Montreal, corruption runs rampant with left-wing governments. Certainly from right-wing perspectives too, a little bit, I get it, but mostly it's the left. That's what they do. They're entitled, right? They're entitled to have more than everybody else, and sometimes you have to steal it to get it. In Montreal, it is famous for left-wing mayors, and they're stealing all of the time. And recently they had the first in 100 years at least, English-speaking mayor. He was only in office for weeks, and now he's been kicked out of office and charged with fraud and a variety of different things that have yet to go to court, but we'll see. But in any event, recently he was handed this amount. Get this, $267,923.90. Pretty darn close to $250,000, more than actually, and that's for his years spent in government. That's a pension. Oh boy, too bad Canada didn't have a leader, somebody who could talk instead of the PMO. You see that all the time. PMO says this, that would be the Prime Minister's office. You got some unelected bureaucrats sitting in an office with thick glasses, no personality, and the curtains all pulled, and he comes out with little pieces of verbiage always. You need the Prime Minister, somebody who leads the country, to stand up and say, hey, sounds like he's a thief, what are we doing paying him? Kind of engage with the world, right? Engage with your peons and maybe let them know that there is a leader, but there's not a leader, though, and that's unfortunate. Chicago, they're still fooling around with this new concealed carry law there. The government, the feds said you gotta have it, and now the local people, county level, are saying, okay, how do we do it? Let's make it like a 9-year this and something else that. It's like saying you gotta have cars, so I don't want cars, so I'm gonna ban gas stations, right? And that's what left-wing people do. Again, they look for ways to frustrate the real laws of the land and to frustrate good people from doing good things. Good people want to carry firearms, and they're saying, you can't, we don't want you to, even though the law says that, so we're going to make it cumbersome. So they're trying to outlaw as many guns as they can. They're trying to make it extremely difficult to buy ammunition. They'll probably close down all the ammo shops or something. That's their makeup. They're just terrible people, those left-wing commie people. I'm not supposed to talk like that, am I? Let me rephrase that. They're bad people who could be nice people if they did nice things. A lot of them can't because they got a brain impairment. The U.S. Central Intelligence Agency now is funding the study as to how to control the weather. I guess Okami says, hey, we're controlling the people. What about the weather? We got to control God too. So they've put $630,000 so far into this study. They said we got to modify and control the climate. Some things y'all got to leave alone, I would say. Let me end today with a witty story. No, a story of a witty person. A person who could be a politician. We can only hope that he's a Republican politician or a conservative someday if he does choose that. He worked at a grocery store in Texas, and he went into, pardon me, let me back up. A man came up to him and wanted to buy a half of a lettuce, of a head of lettuce. So he said, no, you can't do that or something. And he went in to see the manager, and the manager says, how's it going? He said, some idiot out there wanted to buy a half a head of lettuce. Turned around, and that man was standing right behind him. And then he quickly said to the manager, he said, and this fine gentleman wants to buy the other half. Kind of cute, huh? There's more. Hang on. Work with me. And so the man left, and then the manager of the store said to the employee of the store, he says, you're pretty sharp, you're witty, where are you from? And he said, well, I'm from Canada. Canada, isn't that cool? How come you're here? And he said, well, Canada, there's only whores and hockey players. And the store manager looked at him and said, well, my wife's from Canada. Oh, really, sir? What team did she play for? Y'all come back tomorrow, and we're going to have more for you from the right. See ya.